Sometimes God has to take us out of our comfort zone to slow us down enough to start hearing His voice again. When I became a long distance parent, I didn't understand how much this journey would reshape my faith, my patience, and understanding of love. Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Lisa. If you are new here, I'm a long distance parent, and on this channel I share my journey of being a long distance parent while I look forward to reuniting with my kids very soon. Today I want to share how being away from my children didn't just break me, but built something new inside me, something that I didn't expect. From a simple Google search to finding a church family, my faith has been renewed in a way that I never expected. Stick around to hear my story about how I experienced the fulfillment of a silent desire 6 years later. When I first became a long distance parent, the first 6 months was just trial and error. With each passing day, my decision became more concrete and I started learning how to take things one day at a time. My mornings became silent. No more school runs, no more chaos. It was just me and my thoughts. And believe me, my thoughts were scary. I felt like my purpose had been paused. No more hands-on mommy duties. I began questioning myself. What do I do now with my time? Other than work, what's next? Did I make the right decision? Am I still a good mom? And in those quiet moments, I realized something. I was so busy doing motherhood that I didn't pause to rest in God. I didn't take the time out to build that personal connection with Him, that deep bond with God. So this silence, these quiet moments now gave me that opportunity to really find rest in God. You see, slowing down for me doesn't come naturally. I'm the go-getter, do it yourself kind of person. I'm naturally that way. I'm driven. I just have to keep going. So slowing down for me was annoying and painful, right? I just don't know how to do it. As time passed, I found ways of trying to get active again. So I joined the library, I started reading books, but of course that was still slow and quiet. So I even went to Facebook to find groups with persons that may have similar interests as myself. I did my searches, but they only ended up as that, searches, because a very important thing about when you migrate and you try to rebuild yourself, trying to find a community, even though there are people with similar interests, you want to find people who have similar culture or the same background for you, because cultural differences for me is very hard to navigate. So even though I had seen people online who were doing stuff, I'm like, I would feel weird if I go out with people that didn't share my same cultural preferences or same cultural background. So that was just a search. I didn't really I didn't really act on you know those findings from Facebook. I also started visiting church again, right? And now for the story. So in 2017, while visiting New York, I was on the bus one day and the bus drove past a church, a Seventh-day Adventist church, and I saw the sign and I was like, whoa, this is close to where I was staying. If I ever lived in this area, I would want to go to that church because, I've been a Seventh-day Adventist all my life. So I'm like, that's a close proximity to where I was staying. So I would want to visit that church. Anyway, it was just a thought. I ended up going. I spent only a week in New York in 2017 and I went back home. Fast forward to 2023, when I now moved back to New York, it happened that I was living in the same area that the church was. So on this given Sabbath morning, I got up and I said, okay, let me Google this church. Let me see if I can find it. So I searched Google and there it was. So I called an Uber and I went on my merry way, happily going to visit this church because it was just there, like right at the street, and the sign was there. I'm like, this is a Seventh-day Adventist church. Let me see what it's like to go to a Seventh-day Adventist church in the US. This would have been my first experience going to a church here in the United States. So when I went, I took the Uber. The Uber dropped me off at the address. When I got to the place, the church was not there. And of course, my Uber ride has ended, so I got off. So I got off and I double checked Google, and I said, but this is the address. So I looked around, I walked around and I looked. The address, the area or the building that was at the address was demolished. It was under construction. So I looked around and then I saw that, like a building plan. It was the same church, but they were rebuilding the church. So now I came to the area, but the church was not there. And I'm like, God, what is this? So I went back on my phone and I Google searched again a church closest to the area where I was, another Seventh-day Adventist church. So I found another one was like 5 minutes away. So I called another Uber and I went on my way there. When I arrived, I was greeted by the most warm and friendly person, and I found out that that person was Jamaican. I'm like, okay, let's see what's gonna happen. So I went in, and it was very warm and inviting, and the fellowship, the worship, everything was so homely. It was like my home church, like similar to the church that I went as a child. And I'm like, wow, I am amazed to find a church here in the United States that had such similar features. It was a lot of Jamaicans, a lot of Caribbean people. I'm like, this is nice. So I continued visiting week after week. I continued visiting because I felt like I found my place. And as I continued visiting, I got more actively involved in church, and it became home. I started, socializing with the people there, and it was good. So months after, I got baptized, and I'd been a member at that church since. So the moral of the story, what it meant to me was that 6 years earlier, I had a silent thought, a silent desire. Oh, I'd like to visit that church. Yes, I did get to fulfill the desire, but God had other plans for me, right? I didn't get to visit that specific church at that moment that I planned to, but God directed me to another church where I found family, I found solace, I found peace, and that was exactly what I needed during my quiet moment, my time of transitioning to this new place, and it has been such a blessing in my life. So God knew exactly what I needed and pointed me to the church that helped me find my way back to Him. I grew up all my life in a Christian family, a Christian home, a Seventh-day Adventist, right? But until I have found this experience and renewed my faith, got rebaptized, being alone has helped me to really experience God. Because, as kids, you culturally grow up in whatever religion your parents follow. So until you become an adult, and in my case, is alone, that's when you truly start to experience God for yourself. And I'm so grateful for this experience. And I must tell you that there's no greater comfort in life than actually finding God, connecting with God when you're at your lowest, when nobody else is there for you, and just experiencing Him and learning to trust in Him. So I'm so grateful to having had that experience. And slowing down for me has been a real blessing. That slowness that once felt painful began to feel sacred. I started learning God. I started reading my Bible. I started praying. Instead of praying, Lord, fix this, I started praying, Lord, help me through this. He had showed me that this season wasn't punishment, it was preparation. So, if you are watching this and you're in a season where you feel like everything is on pause, remember, sometimes God slows you down not to delay you, but to realign you. He's not punishing you. He is preparing you to love deeper, trust stronger, walk by faith, not by sight. This journey of long distance parenting didn't just slow me down, it renewed my faith. And maybe that's exactly what my heart needed. If this story touched you, I'd like for you to share it with someone who you think might need this encouragement, a parent or a friend or a relative. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share your comments. Let me hear what you think. Maybe you've been through a season of slowness and you had a similar experience. Share it with us in the comments and let us keep the conversation going. Till next time, this is Life In with Lisa.